my soul is tormented by a succubus. Calling sis, pencil dripping from the way I spit. Fell in love with this. Sis got music, now she in my grips. Wanna take a sip of her only sign says sips. No.
What's up, everybody? It is Senpai. I am back, and today we're going to be talking about a couple different things. But first, I do want to introduce all of the lovely people that I do have talking with me today. I have Card Fight King.
It's good YouTube, Aqua Life, baby, you already know.
I got Zay.
Hey, what's up?
I got Tizskill. Alright, and then we have... And we got he's quiet today. And we got a newcomer, Zenathan. Zen?
Rayhan.
Oh, okay. Thank you. So today we're actually gonna. I think we should start off by talking about Vallejos, because I've been waiting to talk about this guy.
It's Vallejos, not Vallejos.
Yeah, dude, it's Vallejos. Get that shit right.
Vallejos.
Well, now that we're talking about Vallejos.
Okay, so anybody want to say anything about him real quick?
Yeah, dude, I have so much to say about this card.
Go for it.
Like, the big problem, right, and I think this is why most people didn't, like, immediately assume this card was insane, was because it doesn't do anything incredibly or over-the-top flashy, right? It just does exactly what Aquaforce needed, and it does everything Aquaforce needed. It's got the ability to commit a hand mid-battle phase without actually losing cards. It immediately removes the opponent's ability to, like, take your pokes and pray for a defensive trigger, no matter what variant you're playing. And it allows you to, like, basically keep how strong your turn can be in your hand, so it makes, like, guarding your initial pokes much more annoying. Not to mention, it just lets you dig for more pieces in the event you don't actually have, like, great attackers. But honestly, the most important aspects of the card are that it locks your opponent at 11, post a few attacks, or it lets you place a board and you don't actually give up any hand. It's insane. Like, there's literally nothing the card doesn't do that Aquaforce didn't want or need. It's an incredible card for the...
Alright, I pretty much feel the same way about it, and it's just like, and it enables more of technically multi-attacks, because I think it's because I don't have the card pulled up on me right now, but I think it's when you attack, you call you call cards from your hand as well. So you can go ahead.
Attack. Yeah, it's on attack, counterblast 1. For each face-up card in your G zone, you call 2, and you draw for each.
Yeah.
And then if you have 3 or more total, your GB3, you block their power at 11.
Yeah, so it's like, in my opinion, that's pretty good. Like, you're locking their power at 11, you just gained an Excel circle, or an Excel 2 circle, so most likely you have rear guards that you can call, so you get even more multi-attacks going in premium, and it's still good.
But that's the beauty of Vallejos, is that you have the option to either all in, drop a hand, commit like a bunch of attacks, start off the turn, swing with Vallejos first, set up your board, then lock them right away without like even giving them any opportunities to take pokes. But it lets you make the decision of, do you need to really commit hard here, like place a board, swing a lot, then call over that board? Or do you need to play conservative and only like play as light as possible so you can keep your hand big?
See, I think most of the time we're going to need to play conservative. I'm not that experienced in premium, but from what I have played in premium, like, it pays to take it a little bit slow and just play a little bit conservative.
Sometimes, yeah. There are some matchups that you will basically just use Vallejos to slam a board without actually calling anything initially, and it's fine. But a lot of the times you're gonna like slam a hand, swing with it, swing with Vallejos, call over everything, and then swing again. Like, it's strong.
People also don't realize how flexible the card is. He could be your first stride, he could be your finisher, he could be your starter, he could just be an advantage engine, you know? Think about, calling a Saber Flow and then using that Saber Flow, but you're still recouping. Like, so no longer is Saber Flow like, oh, I had to call it, so it's only really a +1. It's actually a +2.
You can argue actually +3 because it's self-replaces.
Yeah, you can actually hold back the Saber Flows in your hand, swing with a bunch of stuff, like keep
and then call
boosters
Saber
up,
Flows with Vallejos.
then call Saber Flows with Vallejos, and you just go really ham on the plus.
I mean, how Even Saberflow on Excel 2, which is perfect with Valios, by the
Oh
way. Hits
god, yes.
13.
And I mean,
So that's good even before the power lock.
and this is all before the stuff that we're going to get in EB08. And, you know, not to go down a speculation rabbit hole here, but let's just say we get a Musashi type rear guard, you know? Then it's like, okay, how does that affect on a Valios, right? And so Valios itself, it's like you can really eat through somebody's hand, whether they're at 3 damage, 5 damage, it doesn't matter. You know, you got a good Valios that, yeah, I mean, you just eat them.
And the cool thing is, like, if you have more attacks than they have size of cards in their, that's the way you look at that is every single one of these attacks, like, that exceeds the amount of cards they have in their hand is dealing damage. Like, bare minimum. So, like, there are going to be times when you Valios your opponent, they get locked at a, you have upwards of, like, 8-9 attacks, and they only have, like, you know, 5-6 cards.
That's actually something I want to touch on too. So like the main complaint I see about Valios is, oh, he doesn't get power gain. If Valios, on top of everything he already did, gave power gain, it'd be absolutely nuts. Because if you think about it, Valios' best aspect, more than anything else, is the fact that every attack, if they don't want to take a damage, is guaranteed taking at least one card out of their hand, no matter what. So the fact that like all the attacks are closer to 11, like Valios only cares about 2 numbers. He only cares about 11k. He only cares about 26k. 11k because no matter what, he's at least getting 1 card out of your hand. The higher the shield, the better. So if you can force out triggers or you know, like grade 1s to guard him for an 11k swing, like that's golden, right? And then the 26k matters because that's at the point where they have to start guarding with more than 1 card to guard your rear guards. Any other numbers in between that doesn't really fucking matter because they just guard it with the trigger if they're going to guard it anyway. But yeah, he only cares about 2 numbers, 11 and 26. And unless he's hitting 26s, you generally don't care. Like 11 is just fine. You're gonna force cards out of their hand.
And kind of on that point is people don't understand. Like we only look at Vanguard in one way, and that is do your rear guards hit numbers up, right? But let's just take Zeal for an example. You know, old deck. But like if you're able to bring a Vanguard back down a step or reduce their power, just like the Shiryuki that Kumo has today, like that's still technically a power gain. That's still technically giving a lot of power utility to rear guards. So keeping somebody at 11, like Zay's saying, is perfect because who cares if you know Valios doesn't give 10k to each rear guard? Like that doesn't matter when they're stuck at 11. Triggers don't matter, and they have to constantly guard from hand.
Yeah, the second you start talking about them having to guard like titles swinging at them or Foivis or literally any card that attacks more than 1 time. You know, you start talking about that card is eating 2 cards by itself regardless, or it's dealing a damage and eating a card, or dealing 2. Like, it only gets worse and worse for the opponent as you play cards that attack more than once. And then the bigger issue is, even if they take time killing those cards, they were played for free. You didn't even give up anything. So it's like, if they ever attack a rear guard, it's no sweat off your back. You've literally replaced it.
The other common issue I find people say is like, oh, what if you have a crap hand? I mean, if you ever come to the point where like you're structuring your turn and you're deciding to stride, and you know you don't have a good hand to Valios into because you have like nothing but like maybe triggers or whatever to call, that's the perfect time to Alex because you can just make the triggers threatening anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you don't just tunnel Valios every game. Like Alex is still a very real threat.
The beauty of Aquaforce is the stride pool they have is very good. They have great out of G guard. They have great first stride. They're not hurting for a stride.
I mean, personally, I would still say our G Guardians are lacking. But I mean, I know a lot of people like them. Like, so in my opinion, I think Ionis, she's great. I think our Galphilia, she's great. But like when it comes to like Ice Barrier Dragon and the rest, they're kind of weak. They're on the weaker side.
Well, to be fair, most clans don't have like super impressive G guards, or they have like one good one. But we have the luxury of having like at least 2 good G guards, right? Like that's important to know is that we do have 2. I don't know.
There's a lot of clans out there: Royal Paladin, Genesis, Shadow Paladin, Gear Chronicle. Like, I mean, I can go down a list, but yeah, I mean, we're not by far the worst, but we're not.
Yeah, but the argument is like most clans have at least 1 or 2 good G guards. Like it's not like we have bad G guards. It's just our two are definitely structured differently than the other clans.
I mean, most clans have bad G guards anyways.
Yeah.
So unless you have an interactive G guard, which only a couple clans do, or you're lucky enough to get something like Ellie, like most clans have bad G
Okay.
guards. I
I'd like to point out Juggernaut Maximum. Maximum is still a G guard. I'm still offended by
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I did want from Premium Collection. And
I
I
didn't want
know
the
they
crits,
gave
I
us
want
the
G guards.
crits, but yeah, I wanted G guards. But I mean, hey, we got to deal with what we got. But I think what we got in Valios is really great. Like people said that the main problem with Aquaforce, which most of the time they didn't play against them or play with them, is that Aquaforce wasn't able to draw. Well, if you played the draw Thavas build, then you knew that we had draw. The main problem was we still had issues with getting our pieces, and I think Valios with the cycle, we get there a lot faster.
And the beauty is we're not making the conscious decision to trade pressure for resources now. We're actually just doing both at the same. It's a really important thing that we still apply pressure while generating our resources.
It's called tempo.
Yep.
And Valios gives us that.
Valios is a ton of tempo.
Valios probably. I'm gonna go on a limb here. I actually think in terms of raw tempo, I think Valios actually has out of any stride in that set.
He's a really good stride.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
agree with that.
Yeah.
But it's a shame because I see people constantly scouring YouTube looking at tier lists of Premium Collection. Valios is always towards the bottom, and I even saw some people kind of just always say, "Oh, well, Aquaforce is at the bottom," and they're always talking about ripples, and it's like that's not even the strongest variant right now. Like
Right now, pre VEBO 8, pre my glorious justice, the best variant of premium aquas is definitely Thavas, hands down. Still,
Yeah, because he draws and he gets his options.
he has resist. He has a really solid advantage engine. He has early game now with the V stuff that we got from the first set. He has the late game. Thavas also has one of the strongest Megiddo turns in all of Magellanica, period. Like there's just right now he's peerless. Like his deck in Aquaforce is so good, and people don't understand that because they're all hyped on Ripples. Don't get me wrong. Come the next set, Ripples is definitely going to be the best premium build, if not standard plus. But Thavas is definitely the best build. And the ironic thing is Valios is probably the best first stride for every build of Aquas, except for Thavas, in which case, because you're running the Mitros, and because of all the synergies, Commander Thavas actually pulls ahead because of the Millennium, because of the Cipla, when you're getting your Excel circle and still setting up for your second stride. Because Aquaforce is all about the second stride kills. The Alexandros is, the Valios, the Megiddo's even Ballerina, however you say it.
The pregnant dragon?
The pregnant dragon. Yeah. It's a whale. But yeah, Aquaforce is all about its second stride kills. Like, I've tested it with friends. Megiddo, if you have the perfect setup, which by the way only needs 3 counterblasts and anywhere from 3 to 5 soul, depending on what your rear guards are. The perfect setup for a second stride Megiddo is a 12 attack turn that has reach to possibly kill from 2, depending on how your trigger luck goes. And that's insane. Like, you could just die to a Megiddo out of nowhere if Thavas just high rolls you, and like that's a very realistic thing, So I feel like a lot of people don't actually understand how good Thavas is. There's people who laugh, for instance, when I say the Commander first stride is good, but when you factor in the fact that Mitros is resolving, your Superior calling Ruler Thavas that is going on Excel Circle, that's a restander, that will later go to your hand, so you have either guaranteed ride or guaranteed stride. You have your Melanias and Ciplas live, which are going to counterblast and draw you a card and also swing for numbers. You give back row attack to one of them, so you have at least, at minimum, with an Excel circle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attacks on that turn, not counting any restanding. But you do have a restander, so it's at least a 6 attack turn. That's at least getting you your triple drive plus a card. At worst, at best, because of the cards you run, you're going to draw other cards. And then, plus, if you see like double saber flows or stuff like that, it's very easy to go to like a 16 card hand going into like the end of your turn, which is amazing. And then from there, if you just double G guard, you pretty much win the game, because then at that point you have an Alex that most people can't guard after their first ride.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more of a fan, at least right now, Standard Plus, and even that deck does really well. I mean, it doesn't have all the utility that the Thavas build does, but I mean, Standard Plus is still strong with Valios, and it's like as long as you know how to play Aquaforce, you know what to do, when to do it, what cards to stride into, and what have you, you're gonna be perfectly fine. But what does feel really good is having the opponent at 5 for even 3 sometimes, striding into a very powerful Valios turn where you're going to get off like 7+ attacks and eating a hand. I've taken out somebody's 14 card hand.
No, and I definitely agree because like when I first saw the Valios, however you pronounce it. When I first saw it, I was like, oh man, this thing is really good. And then like I just kept seeing on Vanguardians everywhere, oh man, this card is bad. It's so bad. It's like D tier, blah blah blah. And I'm like, fucking idiots. Like people need to just like stop. Like if you don't like you can say like, oh, I picked up a trial deck, I play Aquaforce. No, not really. Like if you don't know the value of this card, of it being an actually good tempo card and a potentially like kill card on your second stride, then I don't understand what's wrong with you. Like it's actually really good. Ask any of your friends that play Aquaforce. Listen to this podcast.
Thing is people are under this this misconception that every game in Premium just ends before you hit second stride. Outside of
that's the issue
even
that
sorry, go ahead.
That's the issue that I have with other people saying that Premium is just everything's broken or like unfair. You die before you get the chance to. But like with the Premium collection, now being around the corner, everyone gets critical triggers. Like every deck has a chance now. Like Kaze wasn't really doing much. Now they have Nebros, and it's like really good with the standard support. Aquaforce now, so it's like are just like sort of like just leagues better, but like it's not like you down first stride like before the V series came.
So I don't know about you, but Neberos definitely tries to kill you on its first stride, but that's Tachi's went from doing like not a whole lot to killing you on the first stride, at least trying.
Well, yeah, but like pre-premium collection, how many decks can you honestly say kill on first stride? Even
Not a lot.
Ezel, high rolling, won't always guarantee kill you first stride.
No.
And, and like when you think of what the
cool.
best deck in the format was, Anj, that's definitely not a deck that's killing you first or second stride. It's grinding you out.
Yep.
So like, I don't understand like this like fear of like, oh, you can't play this, like blah blah, you'll die first stride, you'll die second stride. Like most premium decks don't do that. Most of them actually you got to like third stride.
No,
or,
like
for the
that's like second or third stride.
people don't understand. Aquas are very high, like middle tier in terms of premium.
We see this time and time again. Like people are just so quick to snap judge, and they're like, if this card isn't broken, then it's not good enough. And that's, I feel like that comes from so many other card games that like it's just common to happen in Vanguard, and I see it in Standard all the time where somebody's like, oh, this deck, Angel Feather, perfect example. OGT, perfect example. When they first came out, people were like Kagero. OGT best deck format. When Angel Feather was getting released, they were like, nah, Neo Nectar's gonna be the best. Or
I remember there was literally like memes about Angel Feather about how trash they were, even after seeing stuff like Hospital, and we knew what the player did.
And it's like, okay, so you're making snap judgments, but you don't understand how the deck plays as a whole. You're not understanding how people can utilize the deck. And so they make these snap judgments, and then everything gets, underrated, and then you wind up in situations like this. It happens all the time, and people just don't understand it. Like, I remember when Shiryuki came out. Everybody's like, broken card, best card ever created, like, this is going to break the game, and it's doing nothing, right?
What card?
Like, zip. Shiryuki.
Oh yeah, dude.
Like, a great card, don't get me wrong, but, like, by no means did it break Vanguard.
no, definitely didn't. But
I mean, that said, I will say after Premium Collection, there is a decent handful of decks that you do actually have to worry about just dying to first stride. Yes, Steel notwithstanding. golds are even more scary if you're dumb enough to give them the CV to Stride Spear X.
Neveros
Of
can
course, you're also
definitely
looking at
kill you.
Neveros. Neveros is honestly Neveros. I think is the biggest sleeper card in the entire set. Pale Moon
Yeah.
is another clan. If you give them 4 counterblasts, you will die.
Yeah.
Like Neveros can just, and the cool thing about Neveros is they can kill you with 0 counter. They need
Oh
no
my god.
resources
Yeah, it's
to
like
kill
all
you.
soul and retire.
Yeah, like if you try to damage into that deck, they will just kill you. They do not care.
And it doesn't matter the build. You can just you can literally play. You can play Gaia. You can play Standard Plus. Like it doesn't matter. That like Neveros
works.
just delivers.
Literally,
Oh,
I'll tell you guys right now, dude. Big tip: the only card you need for that deck is Sarco Blaze. Pick up Sarco Blaze, and your deck's good. Just play Standard, throw Sarco Blaze. You're lit.
Yeah.
So, and not to digress, but anybody remember all the complaining that was happening by the community about the Kumo loop for premium?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
that did nothing.
Oh yeah.
dude.
Yeah. Where's that today? Because everybody was like, "Oh,
yeah.
they need to ban it." Bushiroad did another infinite loop. It's the end of the world. They can do it on grade 2. They can beat you to 3. It's another NLK. Whereas,
As far as I know, in the West, Pale Moon Loop only ever topped twice. It is in the same tournament, or like the same tournament week or something like that. And after that, it never topped again.
Because you
Like-
just rush the deck. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't have hand early, so you just rush it and then they lose.
and for those listening, like, I want to let you know that premium is not as scary as it seems. Yes, there's a huge card pool that you're gonna want to kind of be knowledgeable about, and that is hard to do because there is so many cards. But it is not as scary as you think. The loops and the OTKs that people say are in premium are really not the case. Yes, it feels bad when you get triple crit on a stride, but really, if you play the game well, it won't be that bad. And I do encourage people to give it a try.
I'd say with the
I
sole
agree.
exception of DIs and Tachis, there isn't really any deck that immediately comes to mind in premium that you can't outplay the possible first strike kill. DIs, like if they high roll, they high roll, and there's just nothing you could have done.
Same thing
Honestly.
with Tachis. If Tachis
And
high
that's
roll
the
you,
same
you
with
just die.
Tachis. Like there's
I
nothing you
agree
could have
with
done
you.
better. It's just sometimes it happens, you know. And like there's no sense in getting upset or mad about that. Like it happens. Like sometimes decks can just kill you on grade 2 or grade 3. It just happens.
Happens
That
in
decks have a
standard,
very
like, you
potent
just
first
get
strike.
crit.
Yeah.
And
That,
look at Royals and Standard. Like if you give them 2 damage, you just lose the game. Sometimes.
Yeah, and like
I feel premium is more accessible than ever, and people really need to give it a chat, like a
It
real
depends what you're playing, right? So, like, for example, I'm not gonna lie. If you want to come into premium and you want to come in playing like Luard, it's not cheap. You have a pretty big
Yeah.
entry on your price point. If you want to play something like, say, if you really want to get into premium and you're looking at playing like something cheap, grab your Tachi stuff right now. It's not expensive. Pick up Neveros, and you've got a really good deck right out of the set. It's
I mean,
probably going to cost
Aquaforce.
you like, yeah, Aquaforce isn't very cheap either, at least
No,
not right
Aqua,
now.
yeah, we're relatively like a mid-tier clan in terms of like price.
Yeah,
But like I'd say if you're already playing Shadows in Standard, you probably have the bank to play Lord. It's only
Yeah,
about
probably.
an extra $200,
yeah,
Yeah.
and
But, like,
literally
if
that
you
price is
don't-
all in the main, or
and
not
if you
in the main,
don't,
all
then
Ezra's.
it's not that bad. It's really not all that bad. But really, there are
I don't know. I think that premium is more accessible than it's ever been, and the format's more wide open than it's ever been. Like I don't think Anja is going to be as dominant as it is currently after the premium collection comes out. I think a lot of decks are going to be able to give it a hard time. I don't think it's going to drop from tier 1. Don't get me wrong, but I think a lot of decks are going to at least make it actually struggle.
See, the thing is though, the the premium collection didn't really boost Anj as a deck as a whole because
No.
they didn't get a new Guardian. Yeah, they got a crit, but they're already running the crit that like does the double boost thing, so they're not really gaining that.
Well, I mean,
So the deck
they-
hasn't really changed.
They just
It's
can
going
take out a
to.
vanilla crit and put in like a crit that goes in the soul.
Yeah, but they
That's
don't run
basically it.
vanilla crits. Like,
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
They're running all new crits now, and for the double
oh,
crit.
are they?
Yeah. Yeah, look at Toronto lists.
Okay. But I mean, I think that deck's gonna slowly move out, and other decks are gonna come in. But I think a lot of people are scared of premium, and I think there's a lot of fun decks, and there's a lot of meta decks. But premium has such a vast collection that you can bring a lot of these like rogue ass decks and play and do all right. Like, sure, it's not meta, but you can still at least put up a fight.
There is one elephant in the room, I think, in regards to premium that nobody enjoys playing against. Period. I'm sure we all know about it because it was the same deck everybody hated playing against in GB14. So we should talk about it.
I mean,
Dominate is
I
the
don't.
only deck I could realistically say is a bitch to play against. It's
Like,
not fun. Dominate.
it's not fun, but it's
It's not
doable.
fun. It's possible to beat. It's very rough, but you can play around it to an extent. You know when you're gonna lose your hand. You know what Renee does. You know they don't have a real first stride. You know you can play around Mugen Lord. These are just things you have to keep in the back of your mind.
But
Dominate is
what about
really,
new Mugen Lord?
that's what I'm saying. You can play around Mugen Lord.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
so really quick, I want to point this out because while we're on topic of the Mugen Lord, so the new Mugen Lord stride, like you either play into it and lose the game, or they never stride it, like
Yeah.
ever. Because the real purpose of that card, and this is actually true, like this is the only reason that card actually exists,
It's like Drachma. It's a deterrent.
is to allow that, and it's the only way to crow, Angel
Protect.
Feather and OTT, because
yeah,
like
because
you
of
can't.
protect.
Yeah, but now that they've got Mugen Lord, they actually have a way to crow those decks, which they previously couldn't. So
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a lengthy discussion about an improved chord that I have a PC droid. Thank you, buddy. But yeah, so the gist of it is most of the time, the only time if you're non-protect you'll ever see the Mugen Lord is if you played into it, and it'll probably hurt because if they're starting Mugen Lord, it means you have some really juicy targets. So that is a realistic truth. But I mean, you could look at it as a win or loss depending on what your clan is, because I mean you're not taking a Rene to the face, so there is that.
And there's still going to be decks that people hate, right? No matter
Yeah.
what format. There's always going
I
to be
mean-
the decks that people hate. But it does not. It should not deter people from playing the format as a whole.
Yeah, the format, from what I've seen, is good.
Format, like in my experience, the format is a lot healthier before the premium collection than, well, no, right now, but before it wasn't really healthy. Even when NLK
Are we talking NLK? Yeah, yeah.
NLK
That
was
was
still
that was
there.
pretty
It was
unhealthy.
like the most unhealthy premium's ever been.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, look at the transition of even some of the really good and people were pushing premium who said like, "Oh, NLK is broken," or "Oh, Geese is broken," "Oh, Ezel's broken," and none of. I mean, yeah, they limited Assassin, which we all agree with, but most of the stuff just transitions because premium is getting new cards and the meta is forming because there is such a vast variety of cards out there that they figure out what cards can counter the decks that are meta at the time. Like,
There's so many sleeper good decks. Like for instance, one of my friends, a lot of people know him as Useless. He piloted this really nasty Great Nature build that, for instance, with Aquas, I couldn't take a single game off of him playtesting because he just G-guard double Honolly onto his back row in the middle of my turn, and I had to end my turn because I couldn't afford 2 CB per attack. Like, and there's so many decks like that that just are really gross. And like on his turns, he create like these massive Bolaro swings that you couldn't possibly guard, and he'd have like a 17 card hand. And like, there's crazy stuff like that in premium, but the deck wasn't unbeatable. It's just Aquas is a deck that couldn't possibly beat that, and that's just the nature of it, unfortunately.
I mean, not much you can do about it, but
Yeah. Actually,
that's
that's another good point too. Honolly.
oh,
That is
okay.
like one of the massive deterrents. Like, okay, so I mean, Gize's kind of dropping out of favor, but I expect it'll come back. If you're new and you're getting into premium, if you're playing an aggressive deck, look to get Bobo. Bobo will give you damage so that if you play against Gize, you can actually get damage and play the game because they're not going to damage you.
this is the
And then-
beauty of Tachi's, right? Because you don't care about any of this. Like
True.
all these things that are being talked about, you literally ignore.
Yeah, you don't care about Honolly either.
No.
Honolly, though,
Yeah.
if you're playing a multi-attack deck, you need an answer to Honolly, and if you're playing a deck that's slower, Honolly will help save you against these decks. Premium has a lot of multi-attack combos. Honolly is one of the best cards in the game right now. It's very wise if you're playing a slower deck to tech in Honolly's, and to tech in Dismals to protect your Honolly's, because if their decks like Aquaforce, for instance, our only way of answering Honolly is Wailing Thavas, which means we have to start battling to try and kill it, and you can Dismal it way before then.
No, we got Commander on GB3. He can.
I mean, they can still dismal before you can
Yeah.
possibly trigger commander.
Well, that and commander means they don't have to get rid of it. They can just choose something else.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wailing their entire board's going, but it's still selective retire. So if they dismal, you can't retire it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not too much that can be done against that, but I mean, I'm glad to hear from people with more experience with premium that it's not just, oh, look at this, I played against Dominate, I lose. Oh no, this other person in round 2 is playing an infinite loop deck.
Even Wiseman loops like one of the most complex decks to, but once you've learned it and like you get used to playing it, it's a very, very, very good and not an expensive deck, and it's only gotten better with the standard cards that it got.
The best thing too is like most of the decks with the control G guards are not good right now in premium, or at least they're not strong enough. So like you're not going to see a lot of interactive G guards. So this is like the best time to play like a bunch of cool like combo-y decks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hellheart 8's still really good. Wiseman's still really good. Like there are like Spike Brothers is such a funny deck to talk about because like no bashing. I love Spike Brothers, but you basically just take the standard deck and there you go. You just throw a G zone in.
Add some instructors.
Yeah, and there you go. Your deck's finished.
I mean, maybe, but okay. So, but yeah, I'm just glad to see that premium is still doing good. It's just people actually need to give it a chance. And speaking of giving things a chance, there's like this notion, I don't know where it came from, but a lot of people when they do their deck list or they look to Japan and myself included, like we look to Japan to see like what's supposed to be meta, and then like you hear this stigmatism, like no matter what Vanguard group you go in, whether it's your locals, whether it's Vanguardians, whether it's North America Vanguard page, like if it's not topping over there, then it's not good, which is not true at all. Like Aquaforce, for one, in premium at least, in my opinion, is good. Mega Colony in standard and in premium, because in premium, Mega Colony is pretty much the reason why No Life King got, I think, kicked out of the top circle. Same thing with Golds, because premium Mega Colony is just like, it's disgusting. And if anybody wants to take a look at that to try to dispute me on it, feel free, message me on Facebook. I don't care.
In my opinion, Gurdor is the best deck coming out of premium collection. My personal opinion.
Yeah, and Mega Colony, and it's like it can stop Geese because it blocks off like anything from being called to those spots. So it's like, why are you guys saying these decks are bad, but they're really good? Is it just because they're not topping in Japan or over in Asia or Singapore or wherever in Peru? I don't know, the South Pole. But these guys need to you guys need to expand your mind, look outside the box, look into things that you feel like you're good with and see what you can win with. Don't just go off of one area's results, which granted they do more tournaments than us, but still you got to look into your actual own testing, because over there, Zay said it a million times, they don't touch Aquaforce. They think that the people over in the West are the best Aquaforce players because we get Aquaforce to win. And I know it's not due to numbers, because we don't have those numbers in Aquaforce representation
unless you play in
tournaments.
France.
Well, yeah, unless you play in France.
Apparently.
Yeah, but...
And there's that one guy in the Philippines who always tops.
I know who you're talking about. His name is Gungnir.
Yeah, he's one of the best Aquaforce pilots I've ever seen.
Yeah.
There are a lot of clans that suffer this type of stigma. Royals has it right now too, where they're just they're not topping or winning events. The deck's perfectly fine.
I think the only deck in Japan wise that gets less representation than us is unfortunately Spikes. They just don't like the.
And Spikes are good. Spikes get big ass numbers.
Yeah,
Spikes with Force 2 are actually one of the most annoying decks to fight in the game.
Spikes regularly does well in the West, but in Japan, outside of when Hellheart 8 first came out and when they first got the GBT 13 support, those are the only two times you really saw Spikes being played, and then never again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just people need to get over that, that stigmatism. just because it's not topping over there doesn't mean it's not bad. Like, do you think that that Proof would have won ARG Nats if he would have stuck with that? Like, no, he probably wouldn't have. He played what he knew. He played spikes because he knew how to play that deck, and it
Dude,
was
Proof
good to
plays
him.
spikes even through their absolute worst and at their
Yeah.
best.
Like,
Sometimes just the knowledge of your clan trumps like
What's
a
supposed to be
lot of other
meta?
factors.
Yeah,
I
because
mean,
like,
granted, there's only so much you can push out something
yeah,
within like that context, but like if you're a really, really, really good player playing your clan and like you know it inside out, you're gonna beat most of the meta sheep who don't fully understand how the decks work.
yeah,
yeah.
What I really wish people would understand is that Japan is not the US and the US isn't Japan. So when it comes to meta, when it comes to the market price on cards, like everything is different. Cards that might be $70 in Japan might come over here and be $40, or they might be more. Like, but the markets aren't the same. The metas aren't the same. We have different tastes. Like America's flock to paladins compared to like
Excel.
Japan. Like Japan's all about dragons for the most part. Like
I mean,
I
isn't
mean, we'll probably never have a Bermuda representation anywhere near theirs,
I mean,
even knowing it's the best deck.
With the U.S., like not a lot of people play Bermuda. Like it's just the aesthetic, really.
and people are trying to avoid going to jail, so at least
I
that's
mean, personally, I think that like when you pay your account, like now I'm not an expert in premium, so I'm not going to speak on that right now. But as far as where we're at in standard, and even back when I was playing, G form and whatnot, a lot of the times when a clan is not viewed as top tier, top meta, oh, it's not topping in Japan, I think of it as, well, you're giving the clan an imaginary ceiling as far as from what you've seen from results without you testing it, or you only know because you test against the local scrubs, so to speak, or you kind of just don't get an idea of actually how it is, and they don't put in the work. I'm not saying that Vanguard's a full-time job like some people take it as, and you should do that, but it's like before they even actually try and test it or whatever it is, they give it this imaginary ceiling and then don't find ways to kind of break through, and maybe it's like crazy. Now every deck, to me, every deck has its ceiling upon what it can do, especially in standard, where they really limited your resources and made you want to really think about how you're going to manage your resources with a lot of different decks. And even Aquas and Standard, we're not doing all this like we used to do with Thavis, or even with what old Maelstrom did as far as, being able to draw a card on hit. But I think it also depends on, how do you as a player guard? And everybody guards differently. Everybody determines whether or not they should take this attack here and there. What card, which grade one are you going to guard with in terms of, valuability for where you're at in the game. And I think that a lot of people don't take that into account, that a lot of the better players, like you said, people who can, the Filipino dude who consistently tops, maybe someone in France, whoever it is that they know how to guard, but they also know how to gauge the viability of a car, of what cards they have at certain points in the game. And then sometimes, obviously, Vanguard's luck based, so you can no guard at 2 damage, and get double crit to 5, and that's whatever it is. But I just think that a lot of decision making in terms of guarding, as well as where a player places the ceiling on a deck, is a huge factor into it. And when they read off of Japanese results, they get an imaginary ceiling, but then don't want to actually see the results for themselves and won't even attempt to try the deck in most times.
Another thing that I'd like to add on top of that, like in regards to like the guarding and like the luck factor, it's like people always say like, oh, it's luck based anyways. Like any deck can win. Yeah, that's true, but like, what? There's a reason. And the thing is, if it was truly just all luck based, and like only the deck and the luck was the factor that you needed to top, then like theoretically every regional should be topped with like chock full of different people. But there's a reason why you see the same people always winning for instance, Toronto, because that's the regional I go to most of the time. There's a reason you see the same people topping New York or New Jersey or whichever that regional is, or the same people topping Cali. After a certain point, your deck can only carry you so far. The really good players know how to minimize the luck factor as much as they possibly can within the to be in their favor. That's why you see guys like Angel topping everywhere because he knows how to minimize that luck factor, how to get the most value out of every play he's making. And that's what's going to be the difference between him and an average player. And that's why he'll probably top almost every event he goes to.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you also take into consideration like the deck matchups in a way too, like Aquaforce versus Shadow Paladin. On paper, Shadow Paladin should win that matchup 90% of the time, just based upon, what they do. Um, Aquaforce, there will be situations where it's like, yes, you need to open up with you need to have a title and or Algos in hand because they're going to blow up your rear guards. The thing is that how are you going to manage your resources and fight through that? Would you rather is it something where you want to focus on riding Naval Gazer, for instance? Like I personally believe against Shadows, Naval Gazer is the better vanguard to be on for the fact that you can do low commitment and still get off a multitude of attacks and devalue their ability to Shadow Paladin's ability to blow up your board and gain crits and swing on you is that also holding back grade ones for guarding and whatnot, maybe counterblast deny them, and if you're on Maelstrom, counterblast deny and make them force them to take the third or fourth attack of the turn and let your Maelstrom restand for next check. Things of that nature just in bad matchups. And I think that just people just look at it, it's like, oh, well, if I run into this deck, I'm going to lose. So if I run this deck, it's like, well, if you play tested against the deck, yes, the deck has an inherent advantage over your deck. It completely counters what we are trying to establish. But there's always a way to, like you said, to minimize that and to at least make the best decisions to put you in the best position to win, even against your worst matchups.
I'll also say too, like a lot of people also not only look at the matchup, but they look at their deck. Like I'm Aquas, I'm supposed to rush, so they force the rush, they force the rush. But in Vanguard, you should never force anything. You should never overextend if it's not something you could already do within reason, without fearing the consequences or the potential blowback of what you did. So if you're, for instance, this is the best example, but if you're playing another Excel clan in the Ezel, even though your thing is also to rush, if you give them damage, you're gonna kill yourself. That is a fact. They will out advantage you. There is almost no Excel clan that can out advantage if you give them the ability to. And it's just knowing that you gotta slow roll them, even if it means not swinging with your Vanguard. Yeah, not getting the card sucks. Not dying is better. There's just times when you have to know when to be the aggressor and when to play really conservative, and just bide your time until when you can make an explosive play. And against some matches, like for instance, Aquas against Shadows, we never really have an explosive turn. Eventually, we just either get to the point where we can kind of cobble together some kind of turn that's just enough pressure to get through their hand, but it's never going to be any flashy big double Excel drop my entire hand type of deal, because the entire game is going to be you putting out your pieces and whittling them down as much as you can, getting that chip damage in, and everything you play is just going to die on the backswing, and that's just that matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately. I don't know, but hopefully we've at least tried to get rid of a little bit of the salt that's in the community about certain decks. And another thing about getting rid of salt is just don't be mad when you lose because you didn't either do your research or you made a misplay. It's this game is variance, and I know that's it's not it's a very commonly thrown thing around, but it's you gotta pray to RNGs sometimes to get there sometimes. But don't be mad when you don't get there.
I think the best way to think about salt and how rough games can be is there's an old quote that says you can do everything right and still not be successful. Like you can make no mistakes and still fail. That's part of like life. That's like more than just a lesson for Vanguard. That's like a lesson for life. It doesn't necessarily mean that like you're wrong or you've done something poor. It just means that things just didn't work out the way they.
There's been actually happened at the regional. Like I had Delirious dead to rights, dealt him 6 damage. He's 6 damage healed, and I lost. I lost because I only had enough gas to deal the 6 damage.
Yeah,
Well,
that's just the
see,
way. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I
see,
mean,
here's my thing. I'm gonna refute that just a little bit.
okay.
I think that it's that yes, getting mad at it is not always the greatest thing. Um, you can get mad at it, but as long as you rein yourself in, think about what you could have done better, move on to the next game, and try not to make your mistakes that you did before. Now, in the case of Zay, the deleter healed on 6, and you did every right play you can do, to do what it is. He healed on 6, got lucky, then came back and beat you next turn because, you went for the kill, you dealt him the last damage, and he just won by pure, literally pure luck of having that heal trigger on top of his deck. I will say there is justification in getting pissed depending on the setting. Like for me, I hate losing when it's out of my control. If I lose because of a misplay or something like that, that's fine. But when it's something that's totally out of my control, I hate it. Even more so, it's like Zay, you're in a regional setting. You're sitting there trying to, at top tables, trying to top. You lose to something out of your control in a high pressure situation. That to me is justification for getting pissed. Like a few years ago when I was in the Dynasty Cup playing in the finals, I was using Blaster Joker versus the Cat Butler Riser deck. I won game one, destroyed him game one. Games 2 and 3, I was great. I was great stuck both games. I couldn't do anything. We didn't have G assist then. I couldn't do anything. That was my opportunity to go in to win the Dicey Cup. I felt like I had the matchup down pat. My deck was a perfect counter to that with Blaster Joker, one of my favorite decks of all time. It was a perfect counter to that, but because I was unable to actually play the game, I lost. And in those scenarios, I feel like it depends on the setting you're in, where you're at, and you know what. If it's like a local tournament, you know, then to me local tournaments can be whatever unless you're on the verge of topping or you're sitting there at 2-1 and you need to secure a win to secure your place in top, sure. But I think the setting combined with you know was your loss in or out of your control, I think that's very important. I feel like you can be justified with being pissed in that instant.
I think the
I
better
mean,
question to ask yourself is why are you playing Vanguard if you will only get mad over that? Like
I mean,
that's part of the game. Like it's gonna happen. You're gonna lose the stuff that's beyond your control, and I think the best thing to do about it is like in those situations, like
See,
you grow.
this is
like
Yeah.
it's okay to be upset, but I think especially when you're talking about in a regional setting or like in like the Dynasty Cup, you're like especially in between rounds, you really gotta temper your anger, and you gotta understand that yeah, you lost to the variance and that was unfortunate, but it happens. How many times have there been times where you've been one to pass, for instance, and you hit a crit and you went off that? Like it could go either or. So like it sucks in the way you lost, and like in the way I lost, it sucks, but I didn't have time to sit there and be upset because I knew that I had to get ready for the next round and however many minutes. So I didn't have time to sit there and reflect on anything other than could I have done that turn any differently. And like at the end of the game, like I realized no, because he whittled my hand down too. Like I didn't have a lot. I had to commit there. I could have commit maybe one more card, but it wouldn't have made a difference. I still didn't have another attack, so there's nothing I can do in that situation.
No,
And that's just it is what it is.
You played optimally. Like if
Yeah.
if you seen lethal and you played for lethal and you got lethal, and lethal happened to allow them to live, you didn't make a mistake. You had no choice. Like
Yeah.
playing to end the game is always the way to play. Like that's always correct.
yeah. I mean, like this is my little theory, like a thought that just popped up in my head. I think it's just like because a lot of people came from like Magic, Duel Masters, and stuff like that, where it's like I know in Yu-Gi-Oh the only real variance is just the cards that you draw, but like there's heavily you can heavily like manipulate that. So it's like
Yu-Gi-Oh,
when
you have so much control over everything.
yeah, and it's like I think it's just like those people. I'm not sure if I'm not saying it's all of them. I'm not generalizing. I'm generalizing. I'm not saying specifically it's the people that came from Yu-Gi-Oh because I came from Yu-Gi-Oh. Go check my old videos, like whatever. But it's I know a lot of the times when I started playing Vanguard, I struggled uh, getting used to the variance, and it's like that. It is frustrating at times, but like you got to learn, like you guys said earlier, you have to learn how to just take it and deal with it, and know that this is a game of variance, and as long as you do everything that you can, you should be satisfied with that. But some people just aren't. Some people get pissed and then they call other people scrubs and blah blah blah. I'm not saying any more things that I used to do to other people, but yeah,
Well, it's not so much getting pissed and calling somebody a scrub and something like yes some yeah I mean I noticed especially in Vanguard in this game you have this hierarchy of people who believe that they are better than the majority of players they face. They're like this, yeah, this kid did this, and yeah, if you can tell the difference between an experienced player and a veteran player, a veteran player, excuse me, and a new player. A new player might take a win, might take a match off of a veteran player, maybe because they, had, just everything they needed. The veteran player was kind of struggling in certain areas or the matchup, and then the veteran player is probably going to get pissed at him and whatnot. The newer player is going to be, vilified, all happy and whatnot. But like, I just feel like there still is, regardless of how long you've played the game, whatever it is, there's still room to be mad at certain things, and it's a human nature just to get mad when things don't go your way. And you're right, like you come from Yu-Gi-Oh, where you have a ton of search engines and calling to the board combos and stuff like this. Vanguard's kind of like a game where, at least currently where we're at now, we don't have too much defensive reactions to what your opponent does outside of guarding. So from that, from that scenario, I feel like, again, and it's not saying that you got to berate your opponent. You don't need to do that. But getting mad at the fact that what the current setting is, where you're at, what's potentially on the line. Um, I feel like it's justified that you can get mad, but how you deal with it is the most important.
yeah, that's definitely important. I agree.
Well, I think there's a difference between getting upset and getting mad, right?
Yeah,
You're
there
getting
is.
like
No,
I
the
think
same thing.
what, you think they're the same.
No, they're definitely not.
No, there's definitely a difference between being upset and mad. Like it's one thing to be upset when things go horribly, but getting mad, now that's not good.
No, because you shouldn't. And like one thing people have to realize more than anything, this is a card game. Card game that's meant for man children. All right. Or well, grown-up children. I'm sorry, because there are women and or people who identify as other things, which we do respect here. That's right, card fight queen. So had to slip that in there, just like your boyfriend said to you last night.
God.
Anyway, so
Better make sure you put that picture somewhere in the video.
oh god, it's going in there. Just like and that's what Card Fight King said. Anyway, but it's just a game. Like you have to remember that. Like these are overpriced pieces of cardboard that we are playing with for other people because we are very socially awkward in communicating with normal, well, quote unquote, normal people. So just don't get pissed about it. Have a good time and enjoy and understand the fact that sometimes, yes, you're gonna get cucked out of a good time because little Jimmy, who's 35 years old, who sits in his basement all day, who shuffles and shuffles and shuffles, just happened to get like 2 crit triggers when you decided to no guard at 4. It's gonna happen.
First off, listen here, nerd. I am very social outside of this card game. My social life is healthy, thank you.
Well, I'm
But
not
anyway.
saying, I'm generalizing. I'm not saying everybody.
Not everybody who plays card games is nerdy or is socially inept. Okay, that's mean, Mr. Senpai.
No, I
But
think
okay.
you might be socially inept, dude.
Oh,
Have you
yeah,
heard yourself
definitely.
talk?
I mean, you're right. I'm only in so many social functions.
Yeah,
But
dude.
but no, like on the topic of getting upset at the variants and whatnot, I feel like it's better to reflect inwardly, but there's no reason to be upset about it because at the end of the day, like the more important things to worry about, which is usually the next round. You can't spend time dwelling on crappy loss, even if it sucks. Like it is what it is, but you gotta compartmentalize. You gotta deal with it. You gotta go into the next game, and reflect on it later and think like, could I have done anything differently? Like, did I make a mistake here? Blah blah blah. Could I have done this in a different way?
I mean,
I honestly think the best thing to take home from like any game, if you realize you played it optimally, never be upset with the outcome. Like, just don't.
yeah.
Because if you played it optimally,
Yeah.
you did everything you could do. There was nothing that you did, nothing that you could have done to make the game be any different at that point. If you played optimally and you get the loss because they 6 damage heal or because you needed end trigger to win and you really pushed for lethal and you didn't get the trigger, don't be upset with yourself. Like you did the right thing. Take that game, walk away with it. Be happy that you played it optimally. Like even my friend today, when I won our like really long locals, which was like incredibly long, I even told him, I was like, you didn't make any mistakes. Like he played optimally, and he still lost. It's not. You don't always win for playing perfectly. Don't think you get a reward for playing perfectly. You just win more often.
Oh no, you get a reward. It's called that L. All right.
Sometimes. Yeah.
Oh my god. Actually, wait. A great example is Riggs in my game earlier when I was playing Gears against the meme MLB deck. Like, I could have killed your rears, which is a safer play, and dragged it another turn. Guaranteed for, like, I would have won. Have the swinging power there. I had the board committed to go for a game. And it just so happened that you ended up having literally enough guard just to guard my entire turn. And not have a turn. Like, it was the greedier play, but I played to the win condition instead of stalling out for another turn. And I wasn't upset about it. Like, it is what it is. I probably should have attacked the rear guards, but I didn't want to bank on my ability to survive another
Yeah, let's
turn.
be real here. Killing you with the meme was worth it.
I mean, hey, all that matters is that grade 3 ride turn with Spice.
Yeah, dude, I almost died to it. Don't do that again.
Yeah,
Oh, God.
your high roll is real fun.
All right. So, since it is almost 2 a.m. here, and I do need a little bit of
We
sleep.
gotta talk about it.
Oh God, we gotta talk about our pregnant
ripples.
dragon. Yeah, we still gotta talk about our pregnant dragon. Okay, let's be quick. Pregnant dragon. I think it's
Good card.
okay. I think it's okay.
I think it's
I
a
think
win
it's a good
condition.
card. I 100% agree. It's another win condition.
It's a very good card. You
Especially in
remember Mayhem
Thobis. Especially in Thobis, plugging a 12-card hand into that thing, that's gonna be really disgusting.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's on every attack.
Oh yeah, that's pretty nice.
Every swing for the turn.
Yep.
They have to put their guardians up one by one, and you just shoot them down.
Yeah, but if they
And
put
this
up,
thing
Unless
can
you're
retire
PGs.
G guards.
yeah,
It can
it can.
retire G guards too, so it
it
does
can-
not care what your opponent.
The only thing it can't stop is Dismal and PGs.
Yeah, because it doesn't stop their effects.
So like,
Resist
remember
it.
too when you're playing. Well, I mean, most things don't have resist in Guardian Circle.
No, well, there's a
Dismal does.
Yeah, Dismal
Yeah,
does, and
that's
then
why
I think
Dismal. Yeah.
I think
Got
there's a,
one gold paladin unit.
I think there's a Dimension
like-
Police unit too.
But yeah. So remember, like Mayhem Tiger, when they guard on your Balon Arena turn, make sure they put their guardians in the Guardian Circle one at a time, while you proceed to then shoot them down one at a time.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a really good setup, like I'm talking 2 or 3 Excel circles when you go into Balon Arena, you can just straight up win the game right there.
If your opponent's at 5, and you have like a bigger hand than your opponent, Arena literally reads you.
Yeah. Like attacks are going through.
CFK, are you awake?
I am awake.
Oh,
Nah,
okay.
dude,
I'm
he's a
listening.
sleepy boy. You can hear him. He's snoring.
No, I'm cooking. I'm just prepping food for Mother's Day tomorrow. Or
Did you say you were
Oh.
crapping food for Mother's Day?
no,
I
I'm
see.
Yeah.
prepping.
Okay,
I'm prepping food. I'm in the
Oof.
kitchen prepping food.
But no,
Man,
like,
I'm sorry.
I really like Balon Arena because there's times where like I have the ultimate strat for Megiddo, but for whatever reason, either like CB denied because I mean, as of right now, pre-premium collection, Thalos basically is just Megiddo Turbo. G guard as fast as you can to get into Megiddo to Megiddo as fast as you can to win the game. So there's times where either like you're denied CB to where you can't properly Megiddo, or you don't have the units for the setup or whatnot, like what have you. There's just times where you cannot feasibly Megiddo and end the game, but like Balan Arena will be an option then. You can stride into it. You can put on a lot of pressure, especially if you really just outmuscle their hand with your hand.
Oh yeah.
Like the only time I wouldn't ever do this is if I know they have like 2 or 3 PGs in their hand.
Yeah, like
But,
one
I mean,
is fine.
Even then, that works to our advantage because you're taking 2 cards out of their hand to PG, and if you're doing this turn, you're probably having at least 5 to 6 attacks minimal. So I mean, even then, you could still argue it's a good turn if you know they have the PGs, because you're forcing them to PG your ban. They're gonna PG some big attack. You're just eating cards out of their hand. And the best part is you might not have a lot of cards in your hand, but they probably won't have any cards in their hand.
Yo, and
if
if
they
you want to
survive the
meme
turn.
them, retire the PG anyways and just give them the old.
Well, I mean, you probably want cards in your hand so you don't die on the backswing.
I
But
mean,
yeah, sure.
Maybe, but if you retire the PG and then you have more swings, you always
Yeah.
meme on people. Remember, guys, that's how you really have fun with this. You
No,
always
no.
go for the big meme.
Don't listen to them.
No, don't,
Don't
no,
listen.
no.
Dude, but when the meme works, you always have more fun. And at the
Definitely
end of the
retire the G guards.
day,
always
definitely
retire
retire
the
the G guard. I might say to you guys to just go meme, but only meme if you're gonna win anyway.
No, don't do that because he tried to get me to meme when I played Blade Master and I nearly lost him. No, don't listen to him.
You won. You won. It didn't
Don't put
matter.
everything on Tar, okay?
Tar
Don't put
deserves
everything on
everything.
Tar.
Okay, so
Ripples.
ripples were already like considered by a lot of people a huge threat, at least at my locals anyway, for premium.
Which is funny because like Thavas's pressure at all stages of the game except for the grade 2 turn is just better.
Yeah, but you have other YouTubers who have more subscribers who are saying things like, Davos, that's trash. Why should we pick that up? I'm not gonna name any names or say
I
what
would.
or say.
Whoever they are, they suck. Bam.
They think Davos is trash until their shit's getting retired and blown the fuck up by Luard, and Davos is sitting there like I still got a whole board.
Yeah. I'm just not gonna say who they are.
Well, you'll never see Blaster Dark Twin Drive on Thavas. Let me tell you that.
No, that's true. You will never see that. You'll see Stacia on my board before you see that.
Stacia, ew, what are you talking about? Melania, my dude.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I took out Stacia out of my deck.
The fact that Thavas's on stride gives resist is just way too good.
Yeah, gives resist and it gives the unit with a wave an extra back row attack.
Yo, can we play some extreme fight so we can do some really cool decks where we have Thavas play a Wiseman and then set up a whole
No, Wiseman doesn't have wave.
He gets resist though.
Yeah,
Kagro can't kill him.
Oh
Yeah,
god.
He just won't be able to attack from the back row.
Yeah, Denial Griffin. I forgot about that.
But that said, Ripples definitely is like the main competitor. If not for sure the number 2 deck when it comes to premium Aquas. And like they already have a lot of threats and a lot of options. Their early game is something to be feared.
Yeah.
With the addition of Nicolas and Coral Assault, like you basically just turn the deck into like an early game monster with like an actual late game too. Because you're not just running like 8 vanilla units plus Ripple shit.
No. And I know like we've only seen one card out of it, but Blue Wings. Like I imagine like once Blue Wings get like their full support, like still Nicolaj and Coral Assault is gonna make it even worse. It's like I feel like because the Blue Wings, yeah, the Blue Wing grade 2 we just saw. Cause,
I like him. I like the fact that he turns your heals in the stands.
Yeah.
I think that that's pretty nice offensively because like it was always the worst trigger for us to ever check when we're
that
like
thing
actually
is sick
attacking.
because it works on Vanguard, so you can
Vanguard, rearguard.
Vanguard. It's really,
It's 11k
really cool.
booty. Like it's solid. I actually like the card. Some people dislike it.
Yeah.
But like the fact of the matter is the fact that you have that archetype restriction in its second effect already on both Vanguard and Rearguard. The fact that it's a rare. The fact that we know that you're going to be able to build a whole new deck from this set altogether, and then we saw Nicolas. We had our sneaking suspicions that Glory's a cross ride. obviously Blue Wing is the archetype that we're getting in this set. We don't have like we have 2 decks, but technically they're not really 2 decks as they are intended. We don't have like a second deck really yet. So like this set is probably going to branch out our options, give us a second deck to play, probably one that's more budget, make it more make the clan more accessible and easier to play for people than, for instance, the Maelstrom playstyle, which isn't very.
I want to point out,
intuitive.
like really quickly, I think this is really important with how good Blade Master is shaping up to be. I have really high hopes.
Blade Master is amazing.
Like I have exceedingly high hopes for the new Aquaforce stack. Like with Blade Master as good as it is, man, I look out for these like triple R or double R based boss stacks because they are gonna probably be pretty decent if Blade Master's anything to judge.
I played Blade Master like a monkey both times I played it, but that deck is still just so powerful. Like, it's so good. Who thought Kagero should get superior calling? Like, hello?
Hey, man,
It's just amazing.
It's what happens.
Yeah, dude. Garen
Like-
and Doha are like literally.
They're
It's like
really-
Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
The fact that you need to save a PG for them after two twin drives is just disgusting. Because it's like, if they high roll and just rip crits and you manage to guard the Vanguard and the rear guard the twin drives, you still have to guard this thing that you can't guard with normal units.
Dude, I just played 12 crit in that
Yeah.
deck. I don't even care. I'm playing the normal draw P or the normal. F that. We got 4 drive checks, dude. We want to check 1 crit at least.
That deck is really, really, really good. It's a shame that more people probably won't play it at release, but yeah, I'm probably gonna switch the waterfalls to dual axes. But like, I like the way it tests. Subclans honestly are really shaping up. Like, people have to throw everything they think they know about standard from the previous year out the window. Like, as of the heroic evolution onwards, this is like a brand new year of ramped up support. Like, so the stuff we're gonna see in the heroic evolution going forwards is gonna be way stronger than the stuff that people were getting a year ago. Like, all in all. So you can't expect that Blue Wings is gonna be crap. So they're gonna be playable to some capacity. How good they're gonna be, who knows yet? But like, they're probably gonna be a lot easier to play than the current standard Aqua build. So it's gonna be really new player friendly. It's definitely gonna be cheaper. So yeah, I think it's gonna be solid going forward.
And we're getting 11k booty grade 2s. We can't ask for more.
Yeah, Aqua's with 11k booty on Vanguard. Like,
I
thought?
overreacted at first, so. I'm not
who would
gonna
have
speak.
thought? Like, we're gonna be able to little dick Kagero. Like, what?
Yeah,
That's pretty sweet.
yeah, I
Meanwhile,
like it.
poor old Stricken's just chilling.
Yeah.
Like, dude, oof.
And the fact that our grade 1 Vanguard can hit 11k, like, these are just really good things that like Aquaforce has never really had access to. We never had like free resource generation like that. We never had big booty Vanguards. Like, the fact that you
Elder Moss question mark?
get out of here with Elder Moss. That card,
Yeah.
that card came way too late.
No,
Way
you're dumb. It's still a 10k with an effect, man. Come on.
Listen, it's still crap.
Yo,
Don't-
leave him alone.
Don't at me, bro.
He
Still
tried
crap.
his best. He's a good boy. He's got a
Listen,
gun.
they messed up when you needed 4 Maelstroms in Soul for that thing. That's way too slow.
Yeah.
The four is, dude. You don't go for the 4. You just go for 3. 4 is like crazy. 3 is
Yeah,
reasonable.
but G-Guards are what's going to guard it most of the time anyway.
Well, good. Guard it with G guards, and they can't block everything up.
Yeah, but the thing is like the rest of those swings are just straight up booty.
No, there's a bunch of like 16s, dude. It was okay. It was playable. It was okay.
Well, hopefully we do get to see some more Aquaforce reveals this week. I want to see some more of the Blue Wings, honestly, before I see Glory.
I was hoping we got another Blue Wing reveal, but I mean, I know DP is just like crying in the corner right now, so they really needed that magical
they needed her.
reveal. I think she's a really good card. The fact that she can activate twice per turn is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
With obviously with the great reride swinging again.
Ugh. I'm not
That's
looking
3
forward to.
CB in 1 turn though. Like they have to give that deck
I
some
mean,
counter.
are they really using it on anything else though?
If they go Miracle Beauty, they.
I mean, yeah, Miracle Beauty. I'm talking about like just Dayusha.
No, they don't. They don't
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, it's like Gears. They really don't use CB for anything. Like,
Mm-mm.
when you're a CB denying me with Gears, I'm like, alright, my dude, I'm just gonna keep doing what I do.
I mean, there's a reason you still do it, so you don't draw cards, so you don't get PG.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's not completely pointless.
I mean, yes, you're right, it isn't pointless. Like, but she gives 10k power to Vanguard, like, that's sweet. Even if it's for a discard, but I mean, you could just discard, like, a draw or something like
I
that.
like it because it fits along the lines of like good stuff. Dimension Police on top of it also has synergy with Great Dayushi. No problems there.
You think if they have more, like, just good power gain cards, they might drop Force 1 and go Force 2?
They would have to have some great. I think the risk of getting stuck on Great Dayushi is
That's fair.
like if you do the reride, like getting off of him is the hardest part, and you really want to get to the part where you can go Great Dayusha, the next turn swing, and then Great Dayusha again without having to.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's important that the plan, at least until we see what else they get, is still Force.
Yeah.
I do at least like the precedence, you know. I think it's a really good triple R for them, and
Yeah,
I
for
hope
sure,
like
dude.
they're happy, because I know that I don't think that's a bad deck by any means. Actually, I think it has a lot of potential to just dunk people, but I feel like there's just times where you just need that extra 10k. Like for instance, that would be the catalyst for them to be able to ride great, but like they have to depend on a trigger currently because they don't have a card like that yet.
Yep.
Like when she comes out, like it'll probably help the great rerides be a lot more consistent.
And can we please tell Bushy to give us all of our promos? Damn.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Mega Colony,
Please.
poor clan dude had Mega Colony gotten Stealth Millipede when he came out, that clan was actually
Dude.
clan was so meta, and he never got it. And that
The
clan got
G1
shafted.
the G1 promo for Tachi's is one of their best rear
Yeah,
cards.
Savage Trooper, dude, that card, he's a great booster. He's like the best place to go hide your gate. He can fight people. Like Savage Trooper, great card.
Like it sucks that pretty much unless you're a main character clan, you never really get your promos. It's like, damn, I still really want all of our Aqua promos.
Yeah, we have
Like,
what?
we
four?
need
I thought we-
Spear Ray and Thavas. That card makes Wailing Thavas have teeth again, and like we need that.
Crybaby Thavas, dude, the strongest of the Thavas.
Well, I mean, especially when you think about it, because you could have a booster behind him too. So like, say we have now Nicolas behind him because he's just a big booty. So 11k booster. If he's on Thavas, he's 20. He's 37. If he's on anything Excel, he's 38. And then he's going to be getting 35k from swinging at least 7 times. So he's going to be swinging for min like 73. Triple drive with 0 restrict, guard restrict. Well, 0 restrict, grade 1 restrict. It's going to wipe your whole board. Like, it's just going to be nasty.
Yeah.
You pretty much have to be able to PG him or die. Like, at that point, I think only your Chronicle, Brave, and Ellie can stop him because he's going to be that big.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the breaks, though. I mean, I would love to get all our promos.
I lied. Pale Moon and Grand Blue can superior PG him. But other than those 5.
Well, yeah. Other than those, still, that's 5 out of 24, and
like,
that's
Pale Moon is probably one of the saddest like excuses of needing a promo right now because their whole VR that they, which is a good card, End of Stage is a great card. He's going to be held back because they have a promo that they decided to make that literally one card enables it, and they're probably not going to get it.
I mean, they're
in
okay.
English.
GBT Rush is good. The deck
GB Rush is very good. Like, there's nothing wrong with Pale. So I'm trying to say, like, if you really
they have
want
the
to play
loop deck.
guns,
I mean,
yeah.
you can play into it with defensive options, but they have the loop deck. They also have the Nightmare Doll build, which is really nasty. Leslie is a
standard?
stupid card.
Oh, I'm talking about standard, not.
I'm just
premium.
talking in general. Like Pale Moon's in a pretty decent spot, honestly. Fuck
The
Leslie.
GBT is a very, very, very good deck right now
Yeah.
in standard, but like the fact that their new card that a lot of people were really excited because like when it came out in old G era, it sucked. Like it was this big meme card. It didn't do anything. Well, now that we actually have the card and it's
Wait.
actually a good card.
Wait. What are you talking about? Have you never seen that infinite
Loop?
restand?
Yeah, I know about the infinite loop. Yeah.
Infinite restand.
Yeah.
In the stage gun salute deck.
Yeah,
that
I
was
know about
amazing. You just drove check yourself to death. What are you talking
Man,
about?
you just killed yourself and had a fun time doing it.
Exactly. You just restand your Vanguard, drive check your entire deck. Like that thing was amazing. Actually,
Oh, you're insane.
Pale Moon's always had like a bunch of really cool, neat loops. They've had that. They had the deck where you're like a 29k Vanguard on their turn. Like Pale
where
Moon
you
just
use the
has always had
Legion,
neat stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they've always had really cool stuff.
Pam was one of those clans nobody really plays.
I mean, Pale Moon, in my opinion, has a really high technical floor.
I agree.
I don't
feel,
I don't think it's an easy clan to just play.
I just feel it sucks because there are people that really wanted to play End of Stage, like Gunsalute Dragon. They really wanted to play that card. They've been waiting.
Why do
for
people
time
want to play restanders in Excel clans? I don't understand this.
It's because
Stop
of the way
asking for Tetra Drive. It's going to suck.
it's because of the way it works in that deck specifically. Like, first off, it's not just any restand. It's a restand that keeps trigger power, which is the best kind of restand.
True.
It gains natural power and it locks.
I mean, wait, what are you talking about? Maelstrom keeps trigger power too. We're just not dumb enough to put them on him.
Dude, we put crit on him all the time. Come on, don't lie. We don't give him the power, but boy, we'll put the crit on him in hard.
Yeah.
Crickets, 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 crickets.
I mean, okay. Before we end, this is a great, and I am hammering this shit out now. Everybody needs to know this. Stop asking for Tetra Drive in Aquas. I will say it once and I'll say it again. The only reason why Detonics is good is because it innately gains power on its own. It can self-enable its restand, and it has the break right on top of it to actually make it threatening with numbers. Otherwise, for the most part, restanders in Excel clans are never going to be impactful. There is nothing scary about a 12k restanding Vanguard. Okay? They're like, Tetra Drive would literally just end up being more of the same of what we already have, except it'd be more controlled restand, sure. Except at the end of the day, what's it going to cost? It's probably going to still discard, and it's going to have to cost a counterblast because there's no way they can make it a free effect. But Blue Wave, are you kidding me? If you had a restanding Vanguard with no cost and grade 3 turn in Blue Wave, like, it's over. You're going to die. So they have to put a counterblast on it. So at that point, people can gate you out of your effect, which also sucks. Just if we get Tetra Drive, trust me, I understand you guys want OG Tetra, but understand that it is not what standard Aquas need. We need Vanguards that either give our rear guards more pressure or generate us card advantage. A restanding Vanguard at 12k is not threatening. You can literally drop a heal trigger to 2 to pass us. You can heal trigger and intercept to no pass us.
You could drop a crit and 2 to pass it at 12.
Yeah. With Nikolau's boosting, he's still a 23k Vanguard, meaning with the same scenario, it's still at least a 2 to pass. Like, remember, people have been hard guarding waterfalls at 43k since the very first set. So I definitely think it'll be easy for them to see grade 0s for an Excel Vanguard. Like, if we get Tetra Drive, if like we really get him, I really hope that he'll have a really good effect to give our rear guards, or he'll generate us card advantage. But a restanding effects and glory effects and Aquas is not what we need. And like, I understand people want these effects back because we had them in the past, but I understand the past is the past, and what we need now is totally different.
You know, I'm gonna add on to that. I think that the other reason why I don't want Tetra Drive in it is because, and this is just, it could be personal to me, but everybody else, is that Tetra Drive was viewed as one of Aquaforce's greatest boss units in the history of Aquaforce. It literally changed the way, the entire way you play the clan changed when he dropped in set 13, Catastrophic Outbreak. And my thing is that we know what our main card is coming out of the EVO with the Glory Maelstrom. Let's keep it that way. Let's not put Tetra Drive, who was an iconic boss unit for us in this set. If we were to get Tetra Drive, yes, I agree. I want him to have a totally different effect that didn't really focus around restanding unless it provided unless there was some way to gain advantage off of that. I would want Tetra Drive to be in a completely new set and him being featured as the boss card to once again change the way that we possibly play Aquaforce.
You know what's ironic? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No.
I was gonna say
the style between Maelstrom and Tetra Drive both were totally different.
Yeah, it's ironic because like Maelstrom's effect right now is closer to Tetra Drive than his original effect. So honestly, playing Aquas right now, what I want more is Maelstrom's original effect. Like, no word of a lie.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, though.
I want the retire draw.
Low key, I'll come out and say it, dude. I am a Tetra fanboy. I like Tetra a lot. Maelstrom's definitely my favorite boy, but I have zero problems with Tie Dragon, and I honestly think that Business Attire Dragon definitely deserves a spot to come back. And I don't want him to restand. I don't think he should. We already have one restander. We don't need another.
It's just redundant to have
Yeah.
a bunch.
Well, it feels redundant, right? I think the definite idea with Maelstrom was, they would be scared of taking the rear guard hit. But the problem was Maelstrom was too overbalanced and too future-proof, so he doesn't really do anything. So nobody gets.
He is future-proofed in a way that he'll always be good, and it'll be really hard to ever actually straight up remove him from the deck. But at the same point, he'll never be better than what he already is.
Yeah, like if they make Tetra can do something completely different because we basically already have Tetra. We don't need Tetra's skill. We need something nice.
Make Tetra Lambros, like honestly.
Dude,
Mm.
Tetra needs.
You want to get us hard? Make Tetra Lambros.
Don't do that. Make him do something else. Can we? While we're at it, can we get a? What's the name of the Blue Wave crit?
Talking Brutal Trooper.
Yeah, Brutal Trooper. Can we get a Brutal Trooper clone in a grade 1?
Oh god, as a grade 1? Okay, I was about to say,
Yeah,
like, don't get me started on triggers with effects in V era.
No. I just want
really
a
hope
Brutal
it's
Trooper clone. And it's a grade 1, dude. That's what I want.
You know what? I want new units.
I mean, you're getting a wish right now with Blue Wing.
Well, I know with Blue Wing, but what I mean is, like, I just want.
Hold on. CFK, adjust your mic.
Standard has this whole nostalgia factor, and while I appreciate it, once we get that new dude, whoever the new homeboy is, I want to see some aliens. I mean,
they're taking them over.
I don't
Yeah.
want to see. I don't want to see
The aliens.
It's his Dark Irregular side coming out now.
You gotta reconnect your mic, dude.
Well, that's alright. That's alright. I mean, like, to go off of what CFK was saying, like, this is basically Card Fight Vanguard Brotherhood. Like, they're gonna start off with, like, some of the same stuff, but we're gonna eventually go over to all the new stuff, like, and get the good ending. Don't worry.
Yeah, I feel like people just need to understand, like, I understand that you're attached to these units in the past and what they did, and, like, their look and their aesthetic and just how they played, but I understand that this is a new series. It's a reboot.
Yeah.
So the whole sense of a reboot is to do things over differently, not do the exact same thing you did before.
Yeah.
And, like, people have to understand that. Like, I get you like the iconic Tetra Drive effect, but understand that we already have a restanding Vanguard. What good is it going to have for us to have 2 restanding Vanguards? And it's just like, okay, so I basically got negative support out of the set because I just got a slightly better restanding Vanguard instead
the
of
only way that I could
the
get
card I
him
could
to
actually put in
restand
my deck.
is if he restood from your hand as a reride.
Oh my god, that would be sweet. I'd be okay with.
That would be the only way I could see them making like an old Tetra.
And then D Police would just cry in a corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
D-Police would be upset and be like, "Well, what the fuck, you stole our thing!"
And it would probably be like less costed and easier to achieve.
Oh god. Plus, we would get more power. Or some
man,
stupid.
regret circle.
Or we would draw some
Power
cards.
Yeah, dude, like re-ride, it'd be like fucking re-ride draw.
Like, don't get me wrong. There is nobody here who wants to play Blue Wave again more than me. Believe me, I have mapped this deck out. I have played it, and played it, and played it, and I have it built as best as I think it could possibly be played currently with the support we have. I want it to work, but just understand that, like, we need to move forward. And while I do want to see Tetra Drive, I want to see Tetra Drive as a brand new card that's amazing, that has an effect that really benefits the standard deck. Because the fact remains is he's amazing for a turn if he's another restander in premium. You're only going to use him once if you even get to use him. So, like, it doesn't matter if he's a restander in premium, because guess what? You're stratting anyway. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, Loki, I really don't want to deal with Blue A's having a grade 3 that they can just ride and restand and kill me with in premium, but, you know, hey.
But why not?
yeah. I mean, I do, but yeah.
Well,
I don't know. I just, like, I do want to see him back. I don't want to see him in the set. I don't want him to be just shoehorned in and be some crappy card.
no, he
like-
needs his own.
Like Rig said, like CFK said, I want him to be the boss card. I want to see him on the front of that set, like when people saw Gancelot and Mordred, and I want every Awk Force player to just lose their shit. Like, I want that effect. I don't want him to be like oh hey, surprise, like Diamantes for instance. Like it was nice seeing Diamantes, but Diamantes was just like, oh, well, I guess you're here.
I actually loved hearing CFK in the background. I was so he was so quiet.
Well, yeah, CFK is also turning over to the dark side right now, which is why his voice is so mutilated. But
You hear him in the background. He's like, I hear you.
And like we're a pretty privileged clan. Like for instance, Numas are running into a problem where they don't have many more iconic units to draw from. Like they have more Congo shit. They have maybe Migatsu Typhoon to steal from Murakuma too, but other than that, like they don't have a lot more they could branch off into. But Aquas are actually one of the most supported clans in the game still. We have a plethora of cards to draw from. We have so much like rich like card pool,
We
like
still have
such a
like
rich
last card, Revan, Hydro Hurricane.
yeah.
You say stop.
We still have Genovius.
yep.
We still
Genovis?
have what's his name? We still have Benedict. We still have
Transcore.
Transcore, Tavis.
what's the other guy I said the other day? Crap, hold on. Great. Like, there's just so many cards. Like, we still have so much we could do. Hell, they could even still shove in Karma somewhere. Like, we have a lot of cards we could go through. We still have a bunch of iconic grade 2s. Like,
Can we just get Revan back?
we still haven't even seen Valyria.
Last card
Revan.
Last card,
That would be
Revan
sweet.
is the last card that I would want to see.
Yeah, I love him. That was my
love
first
Revan too.
tournament win.
Especially because he really got robbed. Like, he never got to be the deck he could be because of Chaos. Like, I'd love to see him, like, really get time to shine.
I don't think Chaos is the thing that robbed him. I think it was more of Tetra Drive, in a sense.
No, it's Chaos.
Revon came out in set 11 because remember it came out with Transcore and they had to flip the sets. They brought out set 11 before set 10 with Eradicators. We got Chaos in Catastrophic Outbreak in 2014 or whatever it is. After the first Link Joker set with Nebula.
Yeah,
But the thing is like, he never got to shine because as soon as we got him, like, we had Link Joker in the next set. And, like, it was bearable, but he still wasn't that good until Link Joker. Then afterwards, Chaos just was, like, nailed the coffin. Yeah.
I don't know. But what I do know is, right now, it is 2:30 a.m. I'm going to take my happy butt to sleep.
Bitch made.
Yeah, you're right. I've been up since like 7 a.m. So, I hope everybody who's listening to this either today or in the future, you either have or had a good Mother's Day. And we'll see you around. Thanks for listening.